YouTube's getting far worse at sending out videos to subscribers, so if you haven't already, please click the notification bell next to the sub button to get a notification whenever I upload. Or you can follow me on Twitter at Zeltik for updates on stuff. Cheers. One of the most important aspects of any Zelda game is the set of items the hero will have to use to defeat enemies and solve puzzles. From the ridiculously badass like the gigantic ball and chain to the just weird like the beyblade, spinner. Regardless of the game or the timeline or whatever, Link will always be accompanied through his quest by a plethora of weird and wacky items. So today I want to go through my personal top 5 items from across all of the games. One thing I want to note, I'm not going to include the Sheikah Slate as its own item, and that's because it's basically a multi-tool. I'll count the runes each as separate items to make it fair, because obviously the full slate would be, in my opinion, the best Zelda item. An electromagnetic iPad that can freeze objects in time, create gigantic pillars of ice from bodies of water, and spawn bombs or motorbikes at will. Sign me the fuck up. Let's get into it. Number 5. The Hammer. The hammer is a classic Zelda item with tons of different variants across the games, such as the Megaton Hammer or the Skull Hammer or the Iron Sledgehammer. The hammer's often used for boring tasks like slamming down giant switches, but even that feels fun with such an awesome weapon. And the Iron Sledgehammer, the equivalent in Breath of the Wild, was such a cool find on the Great Plateau. I think my personal favourite is the Skull Hammer from Wind Waker, partially because of the times as a kid where I'd wear the metal boots in combination with it, and stomp slowly around wherever I was, completely flattening whatever was in my way. There's something really funny about such a tiny kid stamping around in cast iron shoes, wielding a skull-decorated hammer twice his size. He's here to f*** you up. Number 4. Bombs. Okay, it'd be impossible to have a Zelda items list without including the bombs. This absolute classic item has been in almost every Zelda game to date, always used to kill certain enemies, blow up hidden passageways, or simply to destroy normal enemies with a bit more style. Plus, Cartoon Link can pull this off. So what more can you want? In Breath of the Wild, the bombs return with the Bomb Rune, this time a remote control variant of the classic item that detonate in brilliant blue Sheikah explosions. These are my favourite bombs to date, except for maybe the Wind Waker because of how good the explosion animations look. I don't know where Link would be without his bombs, and I can't imagine any future Zelda games will miss out on them. The bombs get number 4 on my favourite items list. Number 3. The Paraglider. The Paraglider from Breath of the Wild, and by extension the Deku Leaf from Wind Waker, completely change how Link moves. The Deku Leaf isn't quite as useful due to how the game is designed, but it's still really fun, and I remember how much I loved using it absolutely anywhere I could as a kid. The Paraglider is quite simply the Deku Leaf on steroids. It doesn't use up magic but slowly drains your stamina, which means you can glide for absolutely ages. And with how Hyrule is designed in Breath of the Wild, there are tons of high areas you can climb up and glide off, making it one of Link's primary ways of getting around. And it's just so fun for some reason. Something about surveying the land below from your high vantage point is so relaxing, until you decide to drop from the skies like a hawk and completely decimate whatever unfortunate enemies lie below. Number 2. The Hookshot. Right, we're really getting into it now, the Hookshot. I can't think of a more classic Zelda item, except maybe the Hylian Shield or the Master Sword itself. Debuting in A Link to the Past, Link's grappling chain is used both to reach far off objects and bring them to him, or to latch onto something and pull himself towards it from afar. I wish this item found a way into Breath of the Wild, so we could have had a Just Cause 2 style Paraglider and Hookshot combo, but I think we're spoiled for choice in that game anyway. The Hookshot can be used in combination with other items, like in Wind Waker where you can use it along with the Iron Boots to pull down a gigantic stone statue. It's a ranged weapon, a way to climb, a way to move, a way to grab out of reach items. It's just such an iconic part of Link's arsenal. I couldn't leave it out from a favourite items list. Okay, just before I show you guys my absolute favourite Zelda item, I'll go through a couple of honourable mentions. The Master Cycle 0 was a shock reward for the completion of the Champion's Ballad. I don't think anyone expected seeing this in the trailer. You can use the Sheikah Slate to spawn a f***ing motorbike. What? The Hylian shield is Link's classic counterpart to the Master Sword, a nigh unbreakable juggernaut of a shield that's so big and heavy, Child Link has to do this cute tortoise thing to use it. And finally, on honourable mentions, I'll put the Master Sword. The Sword of Time, the Blade of Evil's Bane, there isn't a more iconic video game weapon. Getting the Master Sword is such an important moment in a Zelda game, and I still get chills whenever Link pulls it from the pedestal. Number 1. Stasis. Perhaps an unexpected number 1, but my absolute favourite Zelda item right now is the Stasis rune from Breath of the Wild. And part of my reasoning for that is just how creative it is. You freeze time for an object, where you can then smack it a bunch to build up potential energy. Then, when time unpauses, the potential energy becomes kinetic, and the object flies off with all the force you put into it. How the hell did they think that up? Stasis, when upgraded, can be used not only on objects but enemies as well, even the behemoth guardians. Being a corrupted 20-foot tall tank doesn't help you when you're frozen in time, with the hero wailing on you with the Sword of Evil's Bane. Stasis could be used in so many creative ways, such as taking out enemies from miles away by sending metal crates flying at them. Ouch. It's one of the weirdest, but in my opinion the most fun Zelda items to date, and that's why it's got number 1 on my list. So what do you guys think of my list? What are your favourite Zelda items? Leave it in the comments below, or follow me on Twitter at Zeltik. If you like this video, please leave a like, it really helps me out, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing for more Zelda content. Cheers guys, and I'll see you next time.